Making guitar neck templates. Start by taping your base drawing to a table, then cover it with a blank sheet of paper and tape that down to prevent it from moving while you trace your design. Here I'm using a 72 thin line Telecaster neck as my base template and confirming its dimensions with a pair of calipers. Next, I use the same template that I used to route the guitar body neck pocket and trace that at the base of the neck. This will ensure that I have a perfect match between my neck and the guitar body. After that, use a straight edge to join your lines to the edges of the nut slot. I confirmed previously with a pair of calipers that the nut was in fact 1.625 inches wide. I suggest you do the same to make sure that the scale of your template matches the scale of the drawing. Always make sure to get your center line drawn. And mark the location of the nut. This is critical, as you will use that to locate your bridge later on. From there you can start on customizing your headstock shape instead of just using the default shape that is on the template. I'm going for a slightly more angular version of a Telecaster. Later off camera I freehand a similar but wider shape closer to the CBS version of the Fender headstocks. Next, lay a sheet of MDF wood down, lay your template that you've cut out on top of it, and trace outside of the edges. Then, take some spray adhesive, you could use Super 77, Super 90, or any other spray adhesive, and use that to adhere your neck template to the wood. You want to make sure you oversize your outline for the cut, because this is just to do a quick rough cut to prepare for cutting it out on the bandsaw. I'm using a jigsaw to cut out this rough outline. Always use ear protection. You do not want to get tinnitus. Trust me, I have it. It's not fun. Then we can move over to the bandsaw. You could use a jigsaw if you're very careful, or a coping saw. And what we're doing here is cutting just to the outside of the pencil line that we drew on our template. What we're targeting is about 1 pencil width of space between the edge of the cut and the edge of the pencil line. Always be careful using bandsaws. Notice that my hands rarely enter the platform in which the wood is resting, and that if I do, I'm using a pushing tool that I built to make sure that I keep my fingers away from the blade, and I also rolled my sleeves up to make sure there is no material that is loose attached to me and near the bandsaw blade. Here's a close-up. we were targeting about 1 pencil width away from our pencil mark for the cut, and I believe we achieved that fairly well, especially for a freehand cut with no fence. I saved you the time of watching me sand the lines down to the pencil. And here you can see we went right up to that pencil mark. I used fairly rough sandpaper on a flat beam to sand to that pencil mark. And for a double check, always make sure you have a very tight fit between your template and the body before you move on to the actual wood for the neck. And here you can see we do have a very tight fit.